This is just an AMZN on Monday, April 30th, last day of April 2018. And looking at the pre-market, looking like we're going to hold this level at 1578. We're back, we were back retesting it yesterday and breaking down from it a couple times here, kind of holding it here. So it looks like it's in play again. This level, not a big gap. We had some really large gaps, last week and some other things going on, selling off, and looks like the day's going to open up somewhat flat, relatively flat from where we were. So opening up, and our very first candle actually pushes right on through that. It's like, okay, maybe we are going to keep on going. One candle can just can change all your thinking on what's going to happen. So we're crushing through the 1578. Not a huge candle compared to like yesterday's opening candle and some other opening candles recently. Not even a huge volume either. So all of that just says that maybe today is not going to be as big of a sell-off sort of day like we had yesterday, which would be good. We need a little bit of a rest. Need to just slow down a little bit. We chopped around for a good chunk of the day yesterday. I mean, there was some money to be made, or Friday, there was some money to be made on some of these moves. But, just having a rest way up at this level, I mean, it just made a new all-time high on Friday. So it doesn't have to go higher today, obviously. It could just rest. So selling candle here, see if it does any sort of retesting into this level. But it does pause really close to these lows here and really close to these above them. So let's see if it holds that level. Okay, now we threw a wick down, actually made a lower low than yesterday. That's a good sign that, okay, there's the possibility for it to go lower. But this turned into a buying candle. So at some point, there were people jumping on going bearish, taking out the low, actually below the low of yesterday's aftermarket. People are selling this, trying to push it lower. And instead, it comes right back up, retests. The high here is 1577.88. So 12 cents away from our line. I think our line is at 1578. Maybe it's not exact. Oh, 1578.25. Okay, I was rounding 1578. Anyway, it's really close to the line that we've got. Next candle. All right, we actually touched our line here, 1579. And looks like there's a little bit of a retest and a rollover. That could totally work. We saw that sort of thing happen here with like an evening sort of reversal, but right at the end of the day, it didn't go anywhere. Now you've got something that could shape up like that, or at least some similar body size. The wicks are a little larger, a little further away. But okay, it could go lower from here. Oh, now we've got another candle that buys us back up. Much smaller range. This is the kind of range we saw, any portion of the day later in the day yesterday, not the open. We've got some open with some really small candles here. This could easily go bearish below the low here with a stop up here, maybe a 1-to-1 or a little more than a 1-to-1 down to this level, maybe 1.5 to 1. And you should be able to quickly move your stop and lock in break even pretty quickly and just, trail it until you get down to the 1540 price. It could totally work. Actually, let's see. Would that be so 1563 with a stop up at 1580? That could work. So that's $17 risk. So 1563 going down $17. That's 34. So you're really looking at, trying to do the math in my head real quick. 29. So you're actually coming down here for 2-to-1. Is that right? 1528, something like that. So it's a little further to go. 63 minus 34 is not working in my head. So we'll just move on to the next candle. And this candle takes out where we were going to put our stop. Okay, good. We didn't get in bearish. There wasn't anything that said get in lower. These two candles, were they a tweezer bottom, below, and the low? Pretty close. They were off by 17 cents on the lows, but we've taken out the high. This looks like a double bottom here. We've taken out the high here. Okay, great. This could go higher. The only issue is that we were just talking about this really doesn't need to go any higher. We had a last pivot here, and we have some more rollover prices up through here to contend with. So, I mean, maybe there's a chance it gets up to a nice round number of 1600 at these highs. That would be a target. Maybe this pivot, but that's not far enough for it to actually be worthwhile to get in right now. And we weren't really setting up something bullish because we had this bearish and then a retest, and then, so we really need a pullback and to get in bullish with a stop down here and then take that up to 1600 as a nice round number. I mean, there's not beyond that. I mean, you're going to be, there's a lot more people selling. They're going to push it back down if it gets up to like 1607 or something. So let's see if it'll pull back. Okay, a little bit of pullback. I would not be so aggressive up here to say, okay, get in above the high and a stop below this low. Just a really quick, was that like $6 risk on that? That's too aggressive for up here. I mean, it could really just roll over. Okay, but again, a nice little buy. We've taken out the pre-market highs. So hopefully some folks got in here and, maybe their stop was down here at 1573. They've already moved it up to 1577 or 76 or 75. And, maybe in the next candle, they'll move it up to 1581 and then they'll lock in break even or something. Moving your stop up quickly and aggressively. Okay, now we've got two small candles up here, some upper wicks. These wicks are right, they're still below 1600, but they're getting close. This one's closer. This is a little bit of a pennant here, inside candle, and we'll see if this actually continues higher. Okay, now this is starting to look like it's going to pull back. We didn't really get to a clear level with this candle, but our closes are all right around this area, and that is this indecision candle here. So our closes on these candles are right in this range of this candle, which means that, okay, we did push past a little bit, but not strong enough to actually do much with this momentum to take out these highs, and really, puts this level of this indecision candle back into play. If you were to look at a line chart, you would see this level being really strong, right here today, to say this may just roll over, or if it's going to go up higher, it needs a little more rest, and it may need another retest down here in order to go up higher. So let's see. Okay, yep, we're pulling back a little bit. Okay, so this looks like a bit of an S curve. We had this double bottom and broke out, retested this high. Now we've got a bit of an S curve. This could have been it here, but didn't go higher. Now you got a buying candle here, bearish, so we take out that high, or at least take out the high of this wick. The stop down here, that can be a nice move. But again, 1600 isn't that far away. That's really about a 1-to-1 if you're able to trade that aggressively. Inside candle, and some really small candles here. Okay, now we've got something that looks like it's going to move up. There's a little bit more of an S curve, not quite above the high here, but you can still get in above the high, the stop here or here if you're getting a little bit aggressive. And this would be a great S curve for this to just continue up. 1600, that's a nice, little bit smaller risk. So it makes your reward a little bit closer, or a little bit more to get to 1600. And it's not really getting a close up above where we want it to get above. It's not moving too quickly. It's just kind of chopping around. Maybe it'll just grind higher. And in this case, it actually starts to pull back. And then we break down through these lows, actually come back right through 1578 again with a similar size candle. The open was about this price, and then didn't quite sell down as far. But it's like, okay, now this is looking bearish. I mean, it started to a couple candles ago. It didn't continue higher. And, with this resistance, or at least the closing price here, you did actually retest really close to, people here selling. If they sold again here, or on these candles, then, they're making some big bucks here on a tight risk, either here or here, either one. And they're starting to lock in some gains, or maybe just moving their stop so that, they'll lock in some gains around 1570 or 1565, something like that. We got a squeeze forming and triggered to the bearish side. This is a retest. Now it's rolling over. Okay, this could just continue down a little bit lower and retest again, roll over, and it takes out the low. So folks could have gotten out at 1565, puts a little bit lower down here. A little bit more of a low down here with a lower wick, which just says, okay, I got some volume coming in, people are jumping on, but I've already had this move, a great move, and I'm going to retest a little bit more. Inside candle starts to retest a little bit more, kind of chops sideways for a little bit, and this is the kind of thing, okay, if you're still in, put your stop here. It's paused here long enough. It should roll over after these two candles, these two bearish candles, this one especially, taking out that low. It's got to continue that way. If it doesn't, watch out for it to retrace more. You got to have your stop right here, 1573. You've locked in something from up here at least, and we'll just carry it back down to the low of the day or back down into the 1550s, something like that. Next candle starts to break down a little bit. Didn't get a close below, but barely, but did get a little bit more of a move, which is good. So I want to see that continue, and it's not continuing. Okay, my stop is definitely right here if it's not yet. If you're stubborn and didn't move your stop, now you're right here with your stop, 1573, and we're only $1.50 away from that, and we want to be stopped out if it's going to move up. Okay, now you get some more chop. There's not much you can do to move your stop. You could move it above this wick, 1572, in case this candle at a high of 1571 decides to move up another dollar. You just trade a little bit more. Okay, probably got wicked out here. If you, for some reason, have left your stop a little further away, then maybe you're still in this. You got a nice wick here. This could roll down, but you're already challenging this move. You got kind of a multi-bottom here, maybe a triple bottom. If this area, these relative lows here, it's a lower low from this, but it's relative lows here. It's a nice little consolidation. This could pop or break down. It'd be great for it to break down. But we missed the move from up here down to here, so you want to wait for it as long as you can for it to roll down. We're losing bearish momentum, and we're forming a squeeze again, which means we could actually push either direction, but maybe bullish. This is a great consolidation in here, some indecision when you merge these candles together. This candle now is pushed up above these highs, and it looks like this really could get going. So you want to get in above here, the stop down here, take a little bit at 1578, and then see if you can get back into a neckline here from this double top, or come back all the way up into 1590. With the squeeze, it could move a little bit quicker. It starts to rally, and then rolls right back down. Okay, this could still be a retest, this retesting this level, and we'll see if it bounces. Okay, it bounced. There's some buying coming in down here, which is below where we want it to hold. If you had a stop here, you're stopped out. If you had if you've been triggered in above here, and the stop here, you're stopped out. If you had a little more conservative stop down here, cinch it up a little bit tighter right at here at 1565, but we're losing that bullishness again. And it does actually move up a little bit, but then it just chops. It's like, okay, now just get out. Because this is too indecisive, not enough momentum. Now it's stayed below this resistance. It could just continue to roll down, and this being to the bear side, an S curve here that is just going to take out the lows again. So really indecisive. We're getting towards the end of the day. It does start to break down a little more and just chops. You can see some trend line here and just kind of the flat here. And it looks like it's going to rally again. But, it already tried to do that. Didn't work. It may do it again. If it's in your trading plan, take the same trade again. Then you take it. But it does the same thing to you. It rallies up. Comes right into the similar prices, mid 1570s. Rolls back down and comes down to the same lows. At least it's holding these lows, 1566, 1565, this range. It's holding pretty well, and that's the end of the day. So tomorrow there's a bunch of selling through here. Some of these folks could be trapped if we gap up above here again. Look for a pullback, a retest of something, but we had 20 minutes of selling into the close, and we had some of that earlier in the day, 25 minutes here. You really want to get above all that. And then this is a bearish daily candle. So we step back over to the daily, and we're really close to retesting back into this line. If we have another day of a pullback and then start to bounce, if we switch over to maybe an hourly to see what this looks like. So nice S curve here. This could just be a little bit slower of a curve. That's just going to build some momentum. That almost looks similar to me like this back here. We're just consolidated for some days, having these dips, a dip, and just kind of consolidated up here. If it does this again, watch for the level that it's staying below to form. A couple times, some resistance. That could be up here. It did it, here. It could be here. It could, it could be 1595s. Could be right at 1600. But if it consolidates up here for a few days, and then starts to signal, some higher lows, and start to break out, just get in. That'll be our plan. Just get in. It could keep on moving. Could definitely keep on moving, especially with this triangle. I mean, you made it up into the buying range, but there's nothing to say it can't pull back a little bit more, 1540s, and then just go and be off to the races even more. It's definitely paused long enough here, with earnings being pretty recent. I'm trying to zoom back out. So, some of these bigger moves were because of these triangles. This is a really big triangle. We've had some really big candles on Amazon, and it's amazing some of these. Like, you can see kind of a triangle form here, broke bullish, and just kept on going. A little bit of a triangle here, broke bullish. Okay, this one retested back into the lows. Actually, the very opening low of that triangle, and then ended up double bottoming here and continuing. So, there's some really big candles. I want to see a lot more pause, but if we see something like in here again for multiple days, like say all this week, maybe into some of next week, if it can just go sideways up here, it's going to build so much momentum for a big move higher. Sure, it could break down, but we'll have a stop in place. We want to trade with the trend, which is clearly bullish. So I didn't really prep any options just because there was a lot of chop going on. So let me see if I can take a look at one real quick. Still have stuff set up from last week's video. So 1575 call, we're right around that price. And then it should be the 504 call. Is that right? Yeah, okay. So here's a call. So now we got our normal options pricing back. And we're going to look at the same thing over here. 504. Okay. And let me zoom in just today, and we're going to just take a step back out and just look at the bigger picture. Damn, man. Sorry. Looks like I was a couple days off trying to look at today. All right. So knowing that we've got, some candles that looks indecisive up here, looks like there's some selling coming in. If we had gone bearish up here at these candles, let's just say that's the setup. Even if, so here's the puts. All through this, this looked like it was going bullish. I mean, there was some movement in the option, the 1575 put. Ended up making a low here and here, just above 11, and then here it actually comes back down to 11. Anywhere in here, had you bought for $11, the stop at $10, that would have worked phenomenally. That would have doubled your option, or something where you're getting, because you have this low established. All right, if it shouldn't take it out, it should hold that, but if I want to buy at 11 on either of these candles, let's say 1150 by 1050. You could do that, and that just totally worked on this sell-off. Even had you waited for these candles, these indecisive candles, you got a little bit of signal bearish, wait for a break down here. I mean, this candle here, this candle is at 1030. 1030? Do I have a 1030 put? No, 1035. So somewhere in this price, I'm buying puts to take this down to here, retest, and then roll over, and it did that phenomenally, especially with the double top here. So you just had to be in the mindset of this may not go any higher. It held some levels today. I like how we're straddling around the 1578 price. The only thing with the calls is having some retest coming in here. This looking like a double bottom. But if you had waited till you're way up here, getting in above this, I mean, you missed the whole move. You're in on this candle, getting out on this one if you're smart. But who's that smart to say, well, it probably won't actually continue higher? Or, well, I'm going to get in because I know it has so much further to move. No, if you got it up here, that means you missed it, and you just need to wait in your analysis a little bit longer. So most of the day, you can see the call was losing value and just kind of chopped around, moving around a little bit. And then the put, you can see the double bottom in the put and rallies up. And this would have been just a phenomenal one to grab. You know, the put's looking for a continued move down after earnings, you know, after some of this initial sell-off. Some more move down. So that's it for tonight. And we will continue to track Amazon, take a look at how it's moving and how to trade it with options. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.